My wife, 35F, and I, 38M, have been married for 12 years, dated for 3 before that. We have 3 kids, 10M, 7F, and 5F. We both work full-time in separate fields. She does some chemistry thing that I don't understand, and I am a manager at a computer repair store my friend runs, and also a short story writer when it's slow. She is definitely the breadwinner bill payer between the two of us, but I bring in the fun money for our family and would be completely listless if I didn't at least work part-time. We also fully own our home because of her job. Also, my parents watch the kids for us during the week when we are working. It's been this way since our son was born, and they've been doing it less since they are all in school. But it's free childcare. They refuse to accept money unless it's reimbursing for buying food. Okay, now that all of that backstory is set, here's where the problem begins. A couple of months ago my wife started Pepper into conversations about a possible promotion coming up that would get her out of the lab and into a more manage the lab team position, with less dangerous hours for more pay. Ever since the first time she mentioned it, I've been hyping her up and telling her she's a shoo-in for the promotion, especially since she's been working there since her master's internship and now she has a PhD. A couple of months ago my wife started Pepper into conversations about a possible promotion coming up that would get her out of the lab and into a more manage the lab team position, with less dangerous hours for more pay. Ever since the first time she mentioned it, I've been hyping her up and telling her she's a shoo-in for the promotion, especially since she's been working there since her master's internship and now she has a PhD. Last night she told me she was getting word today if she got it. After she left for work this morning, I called my boss up and told him I couldn't come in today, and then told my parents the kids were staying with me. We spent the day cleaning the house, drawing congratulations cards, and making a congratulations banner. We also made a couple cards that say sorry and we love you for if she didn't get it. I was working on making her favorite dinner, lobster rolls with lobster bisque, because she's a fancy lady, when she got home earlier than normal. Everyone was surprised, because noon is usually home at this time, and yet here everyone was. She got tears in her eyes seeing everything we were still working on, got down and hugged our 2 youngest, and said she got the promotion, cheering all around. And that's when she dropped the bomb, saying we need to get a realtor in a state 3 away from us so we can relocate within the next 2 months. I was stunned, and just said no, we aren't moving for this promotion. In all of her talks she never mentioned that the promotion wasn't for the same location she's been at. All of our family is here, her parents and mine, all of our friends are here, my job is here. She insisted that she's mentioned relocating before, but I swear she never did. That set of a completely new argument about never listening to her and only hearing what I want to hear, and how this will make it so I can stay home with the kids and not even need a fun money job. During this I noticed she was typing on her phone, and when I asked why she was multitasking an argument she said she was texting my parents to get the kids so they don't have to see this. When my parents got here they congratulated her on the promotion and asked how long until we move. She told my parents the promotion included relocation. I'm typing this on the couch in the basement, because I can't face her right now. My parents knowing means she probably did say we would need to move if she got it. I don't want to move. I like my job, and our house. I like being near my parents. I know this would practically set us for life, but I don't want to. I know I'm being selfish, and I know I must not be listening when she talks, but I still don't think she should accept the promotion. I still think no. First interesting update. This has only been up for a few hours, but I wanted to get this in as soon as I could. It's been a little less than a month since I had sent this in, so a lot has happened. I will front load with information people asked about. Formatting is screwy because it's Tumblr. Also sorry if it sounds fake, I wish it was. Info: I've been tested for ADD as a kid but did not get diagnosed, though I guess that would be something that can change as I age. I probably should get tested for ADHD considering she's told me her exact job many times and it refuses to stick in my brain. It's something to do with the environmental testing, like soil, water, ECT. It's definitely not incredibly dangerous, but it involves chemicals, so there's always some danger. Info: there were many conversations in general about her possible promotion, mostly about upgrading cars and electronics. It was never really anything detailed beyond that. Info: I don't actually know why my parents never mentioned it. I should probably ask them at some point. Info: our kids do have friends in school, though in these few weeks they never really talked about anything with me. It was like everyone was walking on eggshells where I was concerned. My son did say we needed a school with a good soccer team though, so he had some opinions after the argument. Info: when my parents got the kids, she stormed up to our room and I went and hid in the basement. I was definitely being a coward, but I also wanted us both to calm down. I did feel silly asking Tumblr about this, but I've been here since 2010. I was falling back on a previous safe haven. That next conversation did not happen. That next morning she was acting like I was perfectly fine with everything and we weren't arguing in the first place. It was weird, but after the argument in front of our kids and venting here, I had decided that I would support my wife. If my parents knew we were moving, I was clearly in the wrong. Last update. This is of course when things started breaking down. Buckle up, this is going to get stupid. And if you think this sounds like a bad story, you try living it. Within days of the announcement, we had a realtor looking at houses for us near what will be her new office. She was planning on being the one to do a final walkthrough after we picked a house via photos so she could multitasking and get acclimated at the new job location. It was her suggestion, and I did not want to rock the boat any further. Conversations between us were only about logistics at this point. How would we handle moving? When was my last day? Where were the kids getting transferred to? ECT. It was very stilted, and any time I would try to just talk normally she would ignore me. The next time I had work, one of her coworkers came in with her kid's busted laptop. The screen took some kind of sports ball to the face basically. As I was filling out the intake form, she asked me how our kids were handling the transfer. When I asked her what she meant, she clarified that she was talking about the transfer request my wife put in to the office she said the promotion transferred her to. I told her that my wife didn't put in a transfer request, but instead was given a promotion with a transfer. She then told me my wife's had that promotion since January and recently put in a transfer request that was approved. The promotion that included a hefty pay raise. When she left, I checked our bank account on my phone and saw that the same amount she's always been paid was still what she was getting. I believe the coworker must have been mistaken, but when I went home I spoke to my wife about it. She told me that the coworker was just jealous she had been passed over for the promotion and wanted to add to the drama in our house. That seemed to break the ice a bit, and I was able to apologize to her for the misunderstanding and the argument. She told me she accepted the apology and that she assumed it was coming because of how helpful and attentive I had been. According to her, I was paying more attention than normal and she appreciated it. She must have spoken with the coworker about this at some point, because when she came to pick up the laptop a few days later, she refused to speak with me past hello and here's the bill and was glaring the entire time. After that conversation, things seemed to settle. I wasn't happy about the relocation, but I didn't want our family to break apart all because I wasn't paying as much attention as I should. This new attitude was the final nail. We had started organizing things, throwing away and donating things we didn't remember even having, ECT, to prepare for the move. While I was going through a closet she normally hid the kids' Christmas presents, and I found a few old laptops. She claimed that she hides everyone's presents in that closet, and that I found her birthday present for me. Just some things to tinker with while we settle. Not totally weird, but it was a little. She probably knows about as much about my work as I do about hers. I also found a few books that belonged to her mother. I figured that I could start to mend that bridge. Her parents never liked me, and bring them the books. I did not tell my wife about this, but considering the level of dust on them, I'm sure she forgot they were there. Her parents live a few hours away from us, not even slightly as close as my parents, but they would still be states away after the move. I drove the entire way, no meeting halfway or anything. It was an awkward meeting, but her mom did appreciate me bringing the books to them. Apparently she thought she had lost them. We did some stilted small talk over a late lunch, and I asked how they felt about my wife's promotion and move. They seemed a little confused, and stuff was slowly unraveled. According to her mother, she mentioned the promotion in January, when she got it. She had mentioned to her dad that we were saving the extra money just in case because of a business venture my boss and I were planning. According to her, we were going to try opening a location in the city we were moving to and I would be leading it. Her parents said they knew I'd had some failed investments and plans in the past, so they were honestly not hopeful this would go well, but they were glad she was able to transfer with her promotion to the other office. Guys, I had no idea what they were talking about. Investments or plans. I'd done the same job since college and I've never invested money a day in my life. I said as much, and then also told them I was going home to talk to wife. I don't really know how they reacted. I was basically in tunnel vision. Probably shouldn't have been driving. So much ran through my head during that drive home, and I was ready to confront her about everything. I guess her parents called while I was driving back and it tripped her up enough that she just told me everything. She was cheating on me, had been for years. Once she got the promotion in January, she set up a second bank account and had them split the check between the two. Her boyfriend in the city we were moving to had access to the new account. He already owned a house, but he used some of the money to fix it up a bit and was just waiting for us to come. I guess to sweep her off her poor feet after my business venture failed. She didn't tell me about relocating on purpose. She's been poisoning her parents' thoughts of me for years, and she's been lying to my parents and children. She also told the coworker that started this thread that I never listened to her and the misunderstanding was just another instance. She told me she never thought so many things would come undone at once. She's still planning on moving. Me and the kids aren't. Next, intriguing story. Am I wrong? Not comfortable with my husband being friends with female coworker. Coworker, F24, we will call her Debbie, started working with my husband, M35. We will call him Charlie. 2 years ago, last September, I met her for the first time at a wedding of two of their coworkers. She sat behind us. The girl getting married does not like my husband, but he is on the same shift and the whole shift was invited to the wedding. The girl getting married had called Charlie a snake to Debbie in casual conversation. They are not friends and Charlie is generally a good person, IMO, so that is not a red flag to me. Debbie told Charlie about this. So, at this point it's a running inside joke that I was privy to. Back to the wedding, Charlie texts Debbie snake and Debbie mouth stop, all flirty. I did think it was flirty, but thought that may just be her personality. Fast forward to the shift Christmas party last year. We have been hosting shift Christmas parties at our house for 2 years. The whole shift was there, but Debbie brings her twin sister as her +1. One thing about their job is it's a male-dominated field, but I am friends with a few of his co-workers' wives. So during the party, all the women were hanging out, except Debbie and her twin sister. She was hanging with the guys. I just assumed it was because she didn't really know most of the women. No big deal, but the next day, she sends Charlie a couple of photos that she had snapped of him without his knowledge. The photos were accompanied by the text, "Why did I take these? LOL. He showed me this in his response, which was pretty PG. But I did remark something along the lines of LOL, I think she has a crush on you. He brushed that off. Fast forward to February, his coworkers are all in their 20s and they convinced Charlie to get Snapchat. I have never been a fan of Snapchat, and Charlie has never had any form of social media, except Reddit. After he gets Snapchat, I notice he is on his phone a lot more. I am naturally a nosy person and I realize that is a flaw of mine. So I notice that he is beginning to talk about Debbie more, and I start questioning who he is chatting with. One thing I notice is that every single time he works overtime, she snaps him and asks him if he is working, or she will ask if he worked it the next day. I tell him she is starting to make me uncomfortable. He brushes that off. March, we go to a new coworker's house on a Wednesday night for a dinner party. None of the wives that I am friends with are there. I also have to work on Thursday and no one else does. Before we go to the party, we discuss leaving at a reasonable time. At 9:45 p.m., I ask him what time we're leaving. He hem-haws around, and I admittedly get frustrated and walk off. He gets mad and decides he is staying as late as he wants. I keep asking when we are leaving and reminding him that I have to work. I spend the rest of the night crying on the couch in a stranger's house. For people come to check on me. Charlie and Debbie never do, and I can see them sitting beside each other outside. Edit. We end up leaving the party at around 1:30 a.m. May. We go to a hot air balloon festival an hour from our home. He sees on her Snapchat story that Debbie is about 30 minutes away. He tells her where we are and asks her to meet up. I am not really privy to this conversation except that I asked him who he was talking to and it was her. We get in an argument and leave before she arrives, and then he tells me that's what they were talking about. June, we go to London for vacation and we are arriving back in the States on our anniversary. I post a super cute slideshow. Debbie sees it. Debbie then snaps Charlie about someone breaking into her car. I express that I think it is weird. August. Charlie says that he stopped talking to Debbie because it made me upset. He has been distancing from me for a few months though, so I still have a gut feeling that something isn't right. He got a new phone in July, but saved his old phone. I let my intrusive thoughts win and I look at his old phone. Charlie and Debbie talked on the phone for 45 minutes while I was at work and they were both off work. I log into Charlie's TikTok account. He sent her a video from Barstool Sports of a girl telling a guy, "I have a crush on you," and the guy reacting really good to it. 2 days before he sent that video, Debbie reposts one that says, "When you are trying to go to sleep but all you can think about wanting him in your bed." 2 days after he sent her the crush video, she reposts a video that says, "The most confusing place you can be is knowing you have a connection with someone but you're not officially together but you're more than friends." I confront him and tell him that this is an inappropriate relationship. After I confront him, she deletes her videos. He claims he didn't talk to her about it and still maintains that they stopped talking last week. I decide to check his Snapchat on his old phone because I'm still having a gut feeling. They have been one BFFs on Snapchat for at least 2 weeks. They talk every single day. She sends him a pic of herself in her pajamas. "Now I'm in my PJs LOL," while I'm looking. It wasn't risque, but I have never once sent any of my male friends a selfie of myself, much less in my pajamas. I tell him I am not comfortable with their friendship and I would like him to stop being friends with her. Side note, we are in couples therapy as well. During a fight he tells me that he likes having friends. I have no problem with any of his other friends. I ask him why he lied and said he stopped talking to her. He said because he knew I didn't like it. I feel like I can no longer trust him, and he basically told me that he would rather be friends with her than married to me. I have asked all of my friends if I am overreacting and all of them have told me to leave him. We have been married 13 years and together a total of 15 years. So Reddit, am I overreacting? Okay, interesting update. So I gave him an ultimatum, do not recommend, and he has a lawyer friend. He went to see his friend 2 days later. He decided it wasn't for him. Our therapist convinced him to block the coworker. We were working on the marriage. I honestly think we were making progress. We were starting to be able to talk about issues without them getting super heated. He was actually opening up in therapy. And then he was triggered by his avoidant attachment style. He went to Debbie's birthday dinner and I didn't. He stayed at his parents' house and came home the next day. I got a Snapchat request from a new female friend and noticed on my list that Debbie had a top friend in common with me. I don't really use Snapchat except to send videos to a female friend that has iPhone while I have an Android. So I have 2 best friends on Snapchat, Carrie and Charlie. Debbie has the sunglasses emoji next to her name on my list. It can only mean that Charlie added her back. I asked him to pack a bag and leave. I'm calling a lawyer ASAP Monday. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. Friend, how do you like these stories? Write your opinion in the comments. I will be glad to subscribe to you. Let's get 1,000 subscribers. Love you.